Hey y'all, my name is Shannon Rae. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I offer you the sincerest salutations. We come together every week just to talk about life, love, the pursuit of purpose. This is a judgment-free zone, although an occasional petty comment is allowed. But what we're really here to do is to laugh together, to learn together, hopefully. So if you're into that sort of thing, I would highly encourage you to hit that like and subscribe button. Go and do it. And I'm here for you on Mondays, like every month, like most Mondays, majority of Mondays. It's gonna be you and me right here on the couch. Now, I gotta warn you, once you join the community, you are going to want to keep yourself locked in. So be sure to bring a friend. Tell them Shan sent you, huh? So quick question, just real quick. Have you ever had a conversation where you just left and you started thinking about it and you think about all the things you wish you would have said? I know I'm not the only one. You start thinking about, I should have, put in a hand gesture here, like I call it the gathering. Let me gather you. Maybe even like a slight head roll, because it's a professional environment. I'm a grown woman, I'm a professional. So like maybe an occasional, just like a little, more like a head bob, a head bob, like bob back, like excuse, like the excuse me, like the definitely should have done, like a little bit of a shoulder shrug. Not a shoulder that means like I'm bothered, like the, but a shoulder shrug like I'm unbothered. You know what I'm saying? Not only am I not fooling up with your foolishness, but I'm not going to change what I said because you said what you said. You know what I'm saying? I'm sticking to where I am. So let me back up, give you a little bit of context. So there I was having dinner with one of my colleagues. Well, actually a group of colleagues. We were all together. We were in person for the first time. Everybody's like triple bags. We get together and we decide that we're going to have a meeting, of the minds, if you will, in person. No big deal. I kind of missed that interaction. Everyone was keeping their distance for the most part and just enjoying a nice dinner. The drinks start pouring out. Wine is being ordered. Cocktails are being ordered and tea is being spilled. Now, I'm a person who likes to observe more than I like to participate because I want to get to know people in these scenarios. There's nothing more valuable than being able to watch and observe people in their natural or semi-natural habitat to see if you really want to rock with someone or not. You know what I'm saying? So a particular colleague was actually spilling her tea about what she had going on within her marriage. And I really felt for her because one, marriage is tough. And there's a lot of things that go on between a spouse and a spouse that you just don't understand unless you're a part of that scenario. And sometimes the spouses don't understand either. We're all human, we're all on a journey. And when we choose to do it together, there will be moments of contention. She and I don't know each other very well, but I do enjoy her personality. I don't tend to share a lot of my personal details with people that I work with. There are a select few because I feel like they could be, actual friends outside of work. But for the most part, my business stays my business. As she is telling her story and being really vulnerable, I feel the desire to offer support, to give her a, you got this and y'all make it through. And I hope the best for you because I do. I hope the best for everybody. I shared a little tiny bit in that moment about my situation and the most interesting thing happened. The immediate response, there wasn't a heartbeat in between, was, oh, that would never be me. Interesting. We go on with the evening, we're talking more and more, and now she wants to press for more information, and I'm giving like nice diplomatic responses, not telling too much about the situation because one, I truly believe that she meant no harm, but when someone is trying to comfort you or to show you that there's a world outside of your own, you really need to think about the way we respond to someone's kindness or respond to someone's openness. When you open yourself up, you invite criticism, but in the same way, if someone opens up to you, maybe think twice before you respond. And she keeps pressing a little bit. Were there red flags? Could you see this coming? The entirety of the sharing of my life or sharing any personal details was less than a minute, but I immediately decided to end any bit of that conversation. My goal was simply to offer some support, to stand in solidarity with the moment that she was having. But once I moved past it, everybody else was going to as well. So the next morning, I'm actually riding along in my automobile, and the conversation starts to play in my mind again. I had gone home and kind of not thought about it since then, but there was a song on the radio, believe it or not, that made me think about it. Don't you hate when you like leave your aux cord and so now all of a sudden you're left to your own devices? Bluetooth isn't working properly, or maybe it's user error. It's probably user error. But either way, now you have to listen to the radio. However, they were doing this mix. It was a mix of like old school music, like stuff I used to really jam to, if you will. I know how old that sounds. I'm not ashamed. Next up was a Michael Jackson song. Interesting enough, I do have a complicated relationship with Michael Jackson, but hear me out. In that moment, I was jamming, but I started to hear the song for the first time with like adult woman with experience ears. You know how you watch something later on and you realize it's toxic? Love and Basketball, not a sweet movie. Come for me if you want to. I stand on that. Listening to Michael Jackson's song, Remember the Times, it gets to that part that I used to actually always find slightly endearing and also slightly funny. For some reason today, that particular day, it sounded toxic. You know what part I'm talking about. Do you remember, girl? Hold up. Who you talking to? On the phone. I'm more of a texter. You and me. It wasn't me. From dawn to 3. I was asleep. What about us, girl? I'ma head out. While I'm listening to the Michael Jackson song, I'm thinking about what my rebuttals would have been if I was that girl he was talking to, just like I was thinking about what my rebuttals would have been had I had this conversation with my colleague. And what I realized was that she didn't do anything wrong. She butted up against an insecurity that I'm still working through. So today, I decided let's talk about something that we don't often talk about, red flags and why we ignore them. We always do that to each other, don't we? We talk about what we would or wouldn't accept, what we will or won't do until we're in that situation, who we will or won't be, how we will or won't act until we do. Now, I know that there's some things that are absolute givens. You'll never have this situation happen to you again because maybe you've learned from it. Certain places you won't be in because you just are going to make the choices that you're going to make. It's actually Bible not to lean into your own power, your own strength, your own understanding. So today I want to talk about the red flags, the ones that I admittedly saw and ignored, the ones I thought wouldn't be so bad because I hadn't dealt with them before and didn't know quite how to qualify them, quantify them, and some of the reasons that in hindsight, I ignored them. Because I think that if we can get to the reasons behind why we make some of the choices that we make, we simply make better choices. I'll never be in a place where I'm perfect. I will never be in a place where I don't make mistakes, but I do believe in the notion of becoming better, of evolving, failing up, if you will. Maybe sharing some of that will be helpful to you too. I'm gonna start with a big one that I didn't know how to quantify, qualify until after the fact. One that I didn't recognize was probably the most glaring red flag of all. This can be applied actually in other relationships. I've seen this before, but again, the nature of this particular relationship that I'm referring to, I had never had something as serious, as deep on this level. So I didn't understand what a huge deal it was until hindsight. Do not ignore your discomfort with the pace. You need to be comfortable with the pace that you are going in with a relationship. Don't just go with the flow. Be clear about your parameters. Be clear about your boundaries. Be clear about how you feel about what's happening in your relationship. If things are moving too fast, if things are moving too slow, you need to be sure that you're speaking up. I recognize that relationships are not cookie cutter. The relationship and the pace that I had the last time would be nothing like the next time. I could have about the same amount of time to qualify and quantify a person and feel a lot more secure and a lot more wise about that decision because I have new tools and resources because of that last relationship. So think about that as you're making the decisions. I don't think a one size fits all works for every single relationship. You evolve and you change and you grow, hopefully, with every experience that you have. But in this particular case, my red flag was I was not comfortable at all with how fast things were moving. If you never ever listen to anything I say, if you take everything else that I ever drop on this vlog or any other vlog with a grain of salt, I respect it, I'm here for it. But please hear me on this point. If someone is moving with this anxiousness, this speed of light to claim you, to make you theirs, to call you girlfriend or boyfriend, to put you in the parameters of a relationship, to kind of lock you in quickly without qualifying you, without doing the work to get to know your friends, the way you think, the way you operate in your life, how you navigate and solve problems. There is something to be said about someone who moves with that type of anxiousness to get you into position. I believe with my soul that people who are running towards this ideal of a relationship or this ideal of having you be in their life are running from a deficit. They are not looking for partnership. They are not looking for support. They are looking to fill a gap. They are moving quickly because they need to take care of something. They think that you are going to take care of something. Your job is to support. Your job is to encourage. Your job is to partner. Your job is not to make anybody whole. That's not something that you can do. That's an inside job. Moving fast, and again, I know that it's not a one size fits all. I know that there are some relationships where intentions are pure, it lines up the right way. This is the person that God has sent for you. I would never be cynical about that. But check the way you feel. That is your clue. Your spirit is not feeling rested in this. Your spirit is not feeling secure in this. It's because there is something that is not being revealed to you in the natural, but your spirit is feeling it in the supernatural. And I know I make a lot of things churchy, and I don't try to, but I truly believe that intuition is really just the Holy Spirit. These are warnings. And it doesn't necessarily mean that this person is some trash human being. It doesn't mean that this person is dangerous. It means that something about the situation isn't right for you. I'm telling you, there are very few things that I just draw a line in the sand on, but if it doesn't feel right, it's because it's not. This one might also be controversial. Again, my channel, my opinion. I believe that opposites attract until they don't. Hear me out, stay out of our feelings. There's something attractive about someone who isn't exactly like me. Someone who can offer me wisdom in places that I don't have, or tell me about experiences, or introduce me to experiences that I've never had before. Someone I can learn from, someone I can grow with and share with. Those things are super attractive. But what's not attractive is when you come up against someone that you're trying to make a life with. You don't agree on how you should rear children. You don't agree on how you vote, your political party. You don't agree on your true core values. Those things should be non-negotiable. Maybe politics don't matter that much to you, but whether or not you and your family go to church does. Maybe you don't care if your partner is vaccinated, but they care if you decide that you want to. Those conversations need to be had. Opposites are all fun and games until you're trying to actually build and create life. In my personal opinion, in my personal experience, your partner should be complementary, not contradictory. Someone who plays off your strengths and your weaknesses so that when you come together, you are an actual force. Be a movement by yourself, but a force when we're together. Y'all remember that song? Okay. When you're with someone that you constantly have to battle it out with, whether the matter be big or small, simply because they're so far away from who you are mentally, spiritually, emotionally, financially, it can be tiring. It can get draining. I believe that couples should be more alike than they are different for the cohesiveness of life together. You are supposed to complement. You are supposed to be able to attack a problem from different angles, but with the same end goal. There is nothing more lonely than having to spend your life explaining yourself to the person you're supposed to be closest to. This one actually flew by me, but it was something I would think about from time to time. And I've seen this in a few cases. I remember an ex way back in the day would argue with his friends ad nauseum about the stupidest things that don't matter, but be for real mad about it. Be holding it in, holding actual grudges. And I remember wondering where that would show up later, where they learned it. Would that be a part of our scenario? And sure enough, it became that. So when you think about a partner, when you're choosing someone to be with, watch how they navigate relationships with the people that they claim to love. Because if they're arguing and debating and fighting, disrespecting, cutting off, or doing these toxic cycles with people that they call family or people that they call friends, these are the people that they love. What would make you be so set apart that you wouldn't have to deal with that same toxicity? If they are arguing with their friend because they are choosing to be different than them, or they're arguing with their mother or father because they're making a choice that they don't agree with, and they're treating them in a way that feels unfairly, you don't stand a chance. What's going to happen is that they're going to get comfortable with you. What's going to happen is you're going to become the friend. You're going to become the family. You're going to become that same person. Be really vigilant in watching and observing the way that they handle the people that they claim to love. This red flag, and this will be my final one before I talk through my side and what ignoring these red flags or kind of brushing them under the rug, because I don't think I completely ignored all of them. Some of them, like I said, I just didn't know how to qualify because it was my first time coming up against it. This one is another one that was like that for me. Pay attention to the way they react to your wins. It was one of my winning seasons. I was doing really well, feeling super favored, feeling like God's favorite, really well at the job I had at the time and getting some accolades there. It was going really well. I was getting so much love and support from my family, from my friends, per usual, but it meant a lot to me. I'm a words of affirmation person, which I think I've mentioned before. That's one of my top love languages. And so to be in that situation and not feel like I was getting it from my partner, the person felt very dismissive, unengaged, detached from my wins. It didn't feel like a collective win that it should be when you are in a relationship with someone. There was always this constant scenario and battle I had going in my mind about being too sensitive about certain things. And so I didn't stick with that. It showed up again over and over and over in the course of that old relationship. But in hindsight, someone should be just, if not more excited for you with everything that you do. I don't care if it's something as small as running a successful meeting at work to landing a huge client or winning your case. Whatever it is, I'm gonna be so excited for you. I'm gonna celebrate for you because that is what it means to be a partner. You win, I win. You feel good, I feel good about you feeling good. And if you don't have that, do you really have the support that you need? And if that's the support that you need, do you really have the partner that you want? And when I look back over it, with ignoring those red flags, and I've done this in so many relationships, we all do it. We all, friends, family, jobs, we all choose what to keep and what to take from someone. I'm gonna disregard the fact that you do that because I like the way you make me feel. I'm gonna disregard the fact that you said that because you still are doing these things for me too. We disregard, we qualify, we disqualify based on what our needs are, based on where we're choosing from, based on where we are in life. Those red flags were red flags that I ignored, also red flags that were reflections of where I was in life, reflections of things that I needed to work on. That saying, you attract what you are, don't agree with it, because if you're the light, you're gonna attract everything. I believe what you choose reflects who you are. If you choose someone who is not celebrating your wins, is it because you also don't feel worthy of the celebration deep down, that they don't validate it? Does it make it not a win for you? That was something I had to check myself on. If you are choosing someone who doesn't treat their relationships with people that they love correctly, are you trying to prove that you can be different? Are you seeing patterns in relationships that you've experienced before so you feel like you can handle it? Are you leaning to your own strength, your own hubris, to think that because you are who you are, you're gonna be different? The red flags that you put up with, that you allow, say more about who you are than they do that other person. I'm not going to say that it is all your fault. That is not what I'm saying here. I'm not going to victim blame. I'm not going to say if he cheated, what did you do? What do you need to correct? No, if he cheated and you took him back again and again and again, what does that say about you? He cheated because he wanted to, but you took him back because you wanted to. Why? When we look at the red flags that we ignore, we can see the areas of growth for ourselves. It is not our job to change anyone else. We got enough work on our hands with ourselves. A few weeks ago, when my colleague made that comment, did you see the red flags? And my immediate thought was to feel a little bit of a tension there. It's because she was rubbing up against an insecurity that I hadn't addressed. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that opportunity because it was something that I needed to work through, something I needed to think about. The more of your story that you can own, the less vulnerable you are to being in situations like that or feeling any type of way from a conversation. That person didn't mean any malice or harm. She was asking a genuine question, but my reaction to it had nothing to do with her and everything to do with me. So that is why I wanted to make this video today. What were the red flags and what can they teach you about where you need to grow? I hope you enjoyed today's video. I will be back next week with another video. The community has really grown a bit over this last month or so, and I just want to say a big thank you about that. If this is helpful, please share it with other people. If you enjoyed this video, please like, leave a comment, subscribe, because I want to keep doing it. I want to keep talking. This feels like ministry. This feels like community, and that's all I've really been looking for. Go ahead and continue to be God's favorite, and I'll see you next week with a brand new video. Bye, y'all.